Hi, I'm Simon Isaacs, and this is our Anything in Print podcast.
Customer first. Previously, we were probably small enough. Each business was small enough to have close relationships with its customers, and that hasn't changed. We've grown in scale and size, but the way that we operate with our customers hasn't changed, and the mentality has maintained itself throughout the transition to where we are as of now. So the mindset is exactly how it should be and how it needs to be. So it's about authenticity, collaboration, continuous improvement, people focus, quality and sustainability, and then they're really the key sort of themes that underpin our identity as we see it. For us, it's about showing the value to our customers, whilst also understanding that there is a place for print within the market. And that example is a kind of a hybrid solution that, whilst there's a requirement for print, actually we can take out a lot of the cost, and a lot of the delivery is digital focus.
Welcome to the 7th episode of Series 2 of our podcast. I'm Sam Precious, one of the leaders of the graphic communications team at Ricoh UK. We hope you're enjoying the podcast, but if you haven't caught up yet to some of the other episodes, I encourage you to do so. We've had some really good guests speaking about some of the hottest verticals to be involved in at the moment, changing customer demands, business transformation, and improving customer experience in print. This series is all about champions of print, people and businesses that drive the innovation forward, and we do like to discuss key opportunities and verticals that are, in my view, no matter what size of the organisation you are in, we like to learn from those businesses and find a way to succeed. Print is very innovative at the moment, and collaborative industry is a very important part of that. I'm very pleased that once again we can host a leader in their field and get some insights from their business. I'd like to welcome Ben Haynes, Adare SEC's Director of Operations. Thanks for joining, Ben. It's great to see you again. I know I speak to you most days of the week at the moment. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm well.
Good. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you, Ben. Before we start going into sort of the champions of print conversation and questions, I just thought I'd start with a bit of an overview on yourself, Ben, and who you are, what your background is, what you do at Adare today.
Yeah, so I've worked for my sins, maybe. I've been in the print industry for the majority of my working life. Started out in Lido for a couple of years, but 20-something years really in the transactional space, working for a well-known bank once upon a time in-house when document services was done within the realms of a bank, and then progressively over time worked for a number of different businesses, and here I am. I joined what was Opus Trust at the time 5 years ago. And there we go. So many years, see many things, many faces, massive amounts of change, but all good. All
yeah,
good.
And I think I've known you quite some time through that journey as well, Ben. So
yeah.
I know we can have a good chat today. I know you quickly mentioned there that Opus acquired Adare, and that was in 2021. Did you want to just briefly overview who Adare are now, size and scale, perhaps a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. So as you say, very, very rapid period of growth for the business as it was and as it is today. I'm sure we'll go on to that a little bit further on in the conversation. But so we've got four manufacturing sites effectively now. So we've got one up in Bells Hill in Glasgow. We've got one in Huddersfield, in Park Mill, as we call it. We've got obviously the one in Leicester, which I'm predominantly based out of. And then we've got one in Redditch, which is our secure print division. So at the moment, in terms of operations, we've got about 211 colleagues within the team. As a business, we're around the 440 mark. So if you think from a scale perspective, when I joined the business 5 years ago, from an operational perspective, we're about 65, and we're now at 211 across the piece. So that gives you some idea of the scale of growth in a short period of time. So predominantly we work in the transactional space, but we have different nuances within the combined business now. So we've got a really broad broad offer into the market. In terms of volume, we last financial year were around the 900 million print images mark, about 380 million envelopes across the board, and then we've got the other solutions that we offer, the other manufacturing solutions that we offer on top of that. So not an insignificant volume. Hopefully we can get to the billion mark in terms of print images this year, but we'll see.
But that keeps you nice and busy, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously now you've got to bring those businesses together. To be successful, I guess you've got to look like you're sort of a single business now. It's been a couple of years since that acquisition was made, so it's really important, I guess, therefore, that you try and get all of the people to be joined together. How has that been going so far?
It's not been without its challenge. I mean, such significant growth in such a short period of time obviously comes with its challenges. But I think what's fair to say is each individual business across the journey, there's Criticom and Dotcentrics, etc., to where we are now, has had its own pedigree and independently within the markets that it's operated. And what was true then in each individual business and what is true now is we all have the same mentality. So customer first. Previously, we were probably small enough, each business was small enough to have close relationships with its customers, and that hasn't changed. We've grown in scale and size, but the way that we operate with our customers hasn't changed, and the mentality has maintained itself throughout the transition to where we are as of now. So the mindset is exactly how it should be and how it needs to be. We can still offer that personal service, even at the scale that we're at today, but we can also, compete in the marketplace for much bigger business as a combined Adare SEC. So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because now, probably joining those two businesses, the scale is now that you're a massive player in the industry. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And so you've had to probably try and work out what your identity looks like now. Is there any reason why you chose Adare SEC as your name?
Yeah, so obviously the marketing teams, etc., have done did a lot of analysis on. And the board as well, and myself as part of the senior leadership team was involved in some of those conversations. And there are a number of options available. Do we take the Opus brand? Is the Criticom brand an option? Do we put them all to one side and create a new super brand, a brand new player in the industry? And I think ultimately what it came down to, Adare had just gone through a big process of rebranding, with all the associated cost and challenge, etc., that's involved in that. But a lot of research was undertaken about interaction, through the marketplace, whether that be through websites, through whatever, and Adare ultimately was deemed a strong brand, a recently rebranded brand. Keep saying the word brand, and that was the right identity for our combined group of companies to take us forward, and I believe that was absolutely the right decision. Of course, people are loyal to their brands, their identity. So, the process of change is still underway. We're still undertaking the rebrand. We're still, in my own sort of role as part of the senior leadership team, we're asking ourselves questions around, what's our new identity? What are our values? What are our principles? What's our spirit? How do we operate as a combined group of companies? We've got, purely from an operational perspective, 211 employees, 2,800 years of service within operations alone. So we've got an incredible amount of experience. How do we bring all of that together as one? So, we're soon going to be rolling out our new identity as such. And that really sort of centers around principles and how we perceive ourselves to be, how our customers see us, and how we want to operate. So it's about authenticity, collaboration, continuous improvement, people focus, quality and sustainability, and then they're really the key sort of themes that underpin our identity as we see it, and then what they mean to our people, what they mean to our customers, what they mean to our supplier partners, because that's how we like to operate, and how we see our supply chain as working in partnership with us, and also our customers as well. Our customer first, everything around that really focuses and centers into customer first. So working in collaboration and partnership with our customers to create innovative solutions and work with them to solve their challenges.
Yeah, sure. How have you clients reacted to all these changes? Has it been an easy communication method, or have you had to really work at that with clients? Has there been any worries?
I think we've at all levels of interaction, the team have worked really closely every step of the way. Marketing hugely important within that process. We've had fantastic relationships with our customers because of the way that we operate, which I've already said. So we have an excellent level of trust. So as much as there obviously is a level of uncertainty when we're talking to customers about changing our brand, ultimately they're dealing with the same trusted people, with the same reliable solutions and delivery from the same teams, with a different banner over the top of it. So I think having that strength of relationship, because we consistently are able to deliver and we're passionate about that and supporting our customers, makes that journey a lot easier. If those foundations weren't there, I'm sure it would be much more of a challenge to do it in such a short space of time as well.
Yeah, no, definitely, Ben. I mean, obviously, I visit the sites quite a lot to see you guys an awful lot, and for me, that integration seemed quite seamless. From my point of view, it was very quickly bonded between the companies. So you mentioned supplier management there. It was always very quick and simple for the two businesses to communicate. There was a definite quick change to reorganize and focus in the right areas. And I know yourself, as now part of the senior leadership team, that organization has put the focuses in the right places. In terms of employees, I can see already that they're starting to, well, if not starting, they've already transitioned into that Adare mindset. Is there any other sort of challenges that I guess you've had to face with that? I mean, I guess, without giving you ideas, but I guess there's all sorts of processes and ways of working, operating procedures. I bet that's not a quick win.
No, it's absolutely not a quick win. I mean, first and foremost, with the level of change, it's about making sure we keep the show on the road and making sure we deliver. Now we're in a phase of, we've had rapid growth over the last sort of 5 years, really, since I joined the business originally. Now it's about taking stock, stabilization, continuous improvement, looking at synergies and efficiencies. We have got, as you know, we have got different ways of working. Fundamentally, they achieve the same outcome. Mm-hmm. We do have different ways of working. We have slightly different systems, and now we're, alongside Ricoh and some other supplier partners, looking at ways that we can streamline, ways that we can have really slick interoperability between the manufacturing operations, the way that we look at centralized planning, and all of those sorts of things. But we have, and I personally have, a really sort of continuous improvement focused mindset. So challenge everything, question everything. There's always a better way, more often than not, to do something. But it is a huge piece of work, and what we have to do is be measured in what we tackle first. We know all of the things, and I'm conscious of there's a danger of having lots of opportunities to improve and jumping into everything. So we have to sort of rein ourselves. Me personally, I have to rein myself back a little bit and say, okay, what are our tactical opportunities? What are our strategic opportunities? And how are we going to make sure that we're dealing with the right things at the right time? Albeit they're all great things to work on.
They are, and it definitely keeps you busy. I guess the other focus, though, is what is it that your clients need to see to have that reassurance? Is there anything that sort of leaps out that clients specifically are desperate to see from, these improvements or these standards that you're putting in place? Is there anything there? I think I personally, I think colour management was one of the first ones that you spoke about.
Yeah. I think you're right with with colour management. So again, we're operating independently as individual businesses. We have different operational methodology when it comes to colour management, and we have now a huge portfolio of equipment across four operational sites, and it links into the interoperability piece, as you know, because we're working closely with your excellent support to try and solve some of the challenges. How do we ensure that we're achieving a consistent outcome in terms of colour in this example, but it's part of the wider piece when we decide to move a job from A to B to C to D. And in theory, it sounds simple, but in reality, different hardware has different capabilities. So we're looking at that in line with the whole sort of interoperability piece. And branding for customers is extremely important. It's their identity, and there aren't many touch points they have, especially in today's world, with their customer base. Whether it be a high street bank or anything else. So a letter going through the door is an opportunity for them to have some sort of level of interaction, and it's important that we represent their brand in the correct way. And colour management is a huge piece of that, and it's something that we've got to get right in order to make sure that we're, as I've said, we're putting the customer, we're putting the customer first in terms of how we're operating.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you mentioned there the different types of customers that you may have. You've obviously got sort of banking, large banking and volume mail that goes out transactional wise. And even if you have a smaller customer, it doesn't matter the size or scale. Each customer is as important as the other. I guess so. In terms of that, though, do you see clients asking for those types of variances of clients? If one might be some direct mail that goes out, and the other one's a very high level highly detailed transactional piece of mail with very secure information on it. Are they produced in the same way, Ben?
But I mean, it comes down to customer requirements, and that's they're the conversations that we have to have, and we do have. There are lots of different ways that we are able to achieve an outcome for a customer. Cost has to be factored in, particularly from in the DM world. Often it's high volume, low cost output, so the requirements of quality are different to the transactional space. But provided that we know what our customers' expectations are, and we've agreed the standard in which we're going to operate, that's what we go ahead and do. And there are various ways, but we have the capability for the best quality in the marketplace, but also the capability not so much for a different requirement. But I think the key principle for me is understanding the expectations of the customer, ensuring the operational teams and the competition teams are clear on the requirement, having the correct chain of custody through the process of proofing right the way through to production, and the end result is consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. And you've mentioned a few times there about the number of employees you've got, and with all these changes that you've made, I guess you yourself can't make all those decisions and then expect everybody just to follow suit, Ben. So I guess you have to have quite an engaged workforce that has this continuous improvement. In fact, I'm actually in your Park Mill site today, actually having a meeting, and what we've got is an operator that's come up to their supplier and myself and said he wants to make improvements. He's coming into work on his shift, and he's seen things that he doesn't think are very efficient, and he's not doing it for any kind of promotion. He wants to do it because he'd like to make his job and life better and the quality better and have pride in his work. That's really exciting, Ben. How do you pass that on to everybody else? How do you get that motivation?
Absolutely. I mean, me personally, I have a really sort of continuous improvement mindset, and as I said earlier, we've got 2,800 years of experience within operations alone, which is incredible. It's an incredible number, and that's just with the length of service within the businesses as they were and as they are now today, let alone prior to that. So it's really important for me that we speak to our people, understand the challenges that they have, bring them along with us on the journey, and really sort of maximise our opportunity, because a few of us can't do it alone. It really requires a team of focused, engaged people with that level of experience. I don't have all of the experience and knowledge. Somebody working on a printer day in, day out that sees the problems that they face has a far better grasp than me of what needs to change in order to improve. My role is to help facilitate that. So that's really key for me, that we are engaging with our people. We've been on at the Leicester site, we've been on a real journey of improvement over the last few years, and it's paid dividends, and people can see the benefit. But I think it's really important not only that we engage with people, but we deliver on our promises as well. So change can be seen and witnessed.
When you're on the shop floors, Ben, it's refreshing to see people wanting to make a difference to their working practices, and there is a lot of passion there. It's are you able to tell customers about things like that? My background is a little bit improvements as well, Ben. I like to help customers improve the way they're working, but I also like sharing that with everybody. And I don't think anybody's scared of telling customers there's always something to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say to our client services teams, bring customers in, get them to come and see what we do. And I find a lot of the time it's quite enlightening for our customers to see how we operate. And I'll talk about the improvements, and I will always talk about the improvements to how we operate. I'll also talk to the customers about some of the challenges that they may present to us in the way in which they operate, and take that opportunity to perhaps plant a seed about how we can collaborate together for mutual benefit. There is always opportunity for us to improve, and I haven't come across a single person that hasn't been engaged in opportunities to improve.
Absolutely.
That to me, that's all. That to me is what a foundation for us to be able to implement.
So Ben, I mean, obviously we've talked a lot about continuous improvement, and I think it is important when you're talking about champions of print. To be a champion, you've got to constantly drive to a good high standard. You embrace some of your suppliers in that mix as well. I think there's you're a great customer for accepting that maybe you're not always the expert in everything, and you open the doors up for your supply chain to help you as well and take the right advice. How do you sort of encourage that, I guess, with suppliers? What do you want to see from people?
I think the partnership thing is key for me. That's the key word. It's not. Yes, our suppliers are service providers, but I can see the value that we can achieve by having our suppliers support us. We haven't got huge teams of continuous improvement experts, within the business, as many businesses don't. We do have some, but we can really achieve some excellent value with the support of our suppliers. And Ricoh obviously is you yourself and your team, Sam, you're being invaluable to us as a business at the moment, helping us trying to solve some of the challenges that we've got. And who better to provide that support to us than the experts within their arena. I think that's where supply relationships and long-term relationships are forged for me personally now, with that added value. The contract's the contract, the click rate's the click rate, the service costs are the service costs. The value is really generated with this type of activity that we're undertaking now. And for me personally,
I'm a bit worried if anybody calls me an expert, Ben.
No,
but I know what you mean.
I hold it in extremely high value, and I've said that to you before, and I mean it. Helping us overcome some of the challenges that we've got whilst we're keeping the show on the road. We're all extremely busy. We're producing extremely high volumes of work. There's a whole host of change activity, as you'd expect. Operations is fast paced. A lot of the time we don't have the time to necessarily stop and really think. We try very hard. And having that support from yourselves and from other suppliers is what really makes a difference for me.
And I think it's most suppliers, also want to be able to help. But I think what you guys do very well is, your doors are open. Nobody says no to you coming in and having a look around. You can spend time with any member of your team and get some really good information from them. And you listen to every bit of feedback, good or bad, or even if it's just minor details or, ideas, but they're all embraced by everybody.
Yeah.
But it is a big transformation journey, and like we've just said, I mean, it never stops, does it? You never say, right, I've reached the best, so I'm here now, but you're on that journey. But, what's coming up next for Adare, Ben, on that journey? Where are you trying, what's your goal?
I think, like I said before, now, we've had this rapid period of growth, exponential growth, and now it's about taking stock, stabilizing, not that we're unstable, but stabilizing ourselves, looking at our sort of consolidation of technical solutions, removing technical debt. Standardization is a huge part of this type of piece of work. Whether it be colour management, as we've already discussed, standard operating procedures, composition, structures, everything's in the pot. And how do we really refine what we do? We deliver day in, day out for our customers today. We always have, pre-acquisition and post-acquisition, nothing's changed. How do we maximize our efficiency through, like I said, standardization? And as you've already pointed out, speaking to our suppliers, being humble and listening to feedback, whether it be from our supply chain or whether it be from our people. Nothing's off the table. Let's really have an open and honest discussion about where we see ourselves moving forward and commit to going there.
Absolutely. No, and one of the things I see a lot of is always new sort of regulations and accreditations that are out, that customers are looking to see in the people that they use for production of their print and mail. Are you finding that quite difficult to stay on top of? I think there's a new one coming out soon, I think, around the new financial services stuff. Is that something you try and get hold of all the time and keep up to date with?
Yeah. I mean, we are heavily accredited based on as a result of the sectors that we work in. If there's a requirement, we'll look at the standard and we'll make a decision on, well, is it something that our customers require? If it is, then it's something that we require. We have a fantastic compliance team that are currently working on bringing our standards into a combined accreditation across the group, which is not a small task in itself. We're all independently 9001, 14001, 18001, etc., 27001, and all the rest, which is fantastic. And it shows our customers that we operate in a structured way. But yeah, we need to look at and part of the standardization piece is how do we combine those accreditations to a business accreditation? We need to look at ensuring that we're doing things in a similar way. And the same can be said for other accreditations. We're looking at EcoVadis gold standard at the minute, which is progressing really well. A huge amount of work is going into that. So from an environmental standpoint, that's really important to us as a business. Our energy, as it is to everybody, challenging our energy consumption, having policies in place to ensure that we're not using power when it's not needed, having switch off policies. We're looking at paper usage, which is a huge cost and a huge environmental impact in the business. So we're looking at how we can reduce our impact and our cost base through that process at the moment.
Yeah, that links quite nicely into sustainability. It's a big topic. I know a lot of businesses are saying that sustainability is almost becoming as a top priority as prices, which is quite scary. I think you've done some quite good consumer research around that, Ben. What is going on with sustainability for Adare? What are you trying to achieve? What are clients asking for?
So clients, in today's world, sustainability is a major differentiator between we've all got very similar solutions in place. So our environmental impact and our sustainability is what will stand us apart from our competitors. So, we are looking at ways to help support our customers with removing waste, whether it be through gonaways, etc. How we can eliminate other types of communication wastes, by consolidating and concatenation of files and things like that. So it's very much high up on the agenda for us as a business, and it forms part of our key business objectives, our strategic deliverables. And the board and ultimately the owner of the business has got one eye very close on that, which is good because it keeps us all honest.
Of course, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ben, I mean, Adare have quite a big theme around a digital now strategy. There's always been a lot of talk about the move to digital. What does that mean for Adare? How are you making that space yours in terms of managing your clients?
I think for us, it's around getting the balance right between digital and print. So, for example, one bank that we work with shut down all existing current accounts. So that was part of that. That was an internal business drive. So from a regulatory point of view, that would have meant they had to provide 7 years of statements to their customers, which is millions of pounds of cost to their business. So whilst print was used, we used print to send out the initial explanatory letter on their behalf. But then our solution was their customers were then guided to password protected user portal, which allowed them to self-serve and download their statements. So that's one example of the term digital journey and etc. is widely bandied about within this operation. But how can for us it's about showing the value to our customers whilst also understanding that there is a place for print within the market. And that example is a kind of a hybrid solution that whilst there's a requirement for print, actually we can take out a lot of the cost and a lot of the delivery is digital focused. So that's what digital means for us as a business. It's not necessarily just about switching off print. It's about how the two can almost sort of work together. And how we exactly and how we can develop those types of solutions with our customers.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of emphasis on the printed item having a call to action to go online, isn't there? So, I guess from Adare's point of view, has it been easy to tell your customers that you can help them with the online bit as well? When you've been a traditional print and mail player, you've got to then try and get them to see that they don't separate the two projects, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, a heck of a lot of work goes into our digital proposition through our technology teams and our marketing teams. I think we are now at a place where the industry sees us as, or should see us certainly as an equal player within the marketplace for digital transformation. We have the infrastructure and the solutions in place that are they're market leading. So we have the expertise within the business to really drive that forward. And our customers and our client services teams and our solutions teams are constantly having conversations about how we can best support them with their journey to digital in whatever capacity that may be. And it also links with our own and our customers' environmental and sustainability goals as well. So there's real value outside of just reducing cost of print. There's real value in other areas, and we can demonstrate that we're able to support our customers to achieve that, and we do as per that example.
No, absolutely. And Ben, I know obviously with the organisational changes recently, you've now got a very new senior leadership team, which is lovely to see, and some key players on that team. How close are you able to stay with the operation? Does that leadership team try and make sure that they are on top of what is BAU and operational, or is it more strategic? I'm just trying to think about how you how you
So
that.
yeah, so the board recognised the need with the size and scale of the business as it is today, that a senior leadership team was needed as almost like an operating board, sub-board level sort of management team, and as much as it's a very high priority for all of those that are part of that team, and you know the wealth of experience, there's representation as you'd expect from client services, from sales, from technology, from operations, from compliance, you know, is a really strong team of individuals. But not only that, from my experience in the short time that we've been together as a team, we've really started making a difference and adding real value to how the business operates, and we see it as our responsibility to ensure that yes, that our strategic deliverables are in place and are being delivered, but that we see it as our responsibility to really drive the business forward. That's our modus operandi as far as we are concerned. And I feel it was a really good step for the board. You know, we've had some strategy days away from the business to discuss how we move the business forward and what we perceive ourselves to be and where we want to get to, and that's a really good indicator for me. The board are placing a lot of responsibility within the senior leadership team, and we take that responsibility very seriously. So our success is on our shoulders. That's the way we perceive it, and obviously the strength of everybody's engagement will lead to that success. The SLT are here to support facilitating.
No, it is. It's really good, and I know you mentioned right at the beginning of this that you've worked really hard on the company's mission, the philosophy, the culture, if you like, and now there's a big phase coming up to really, you know, drive that standard so that you are the gold level, if you like, you know. Yeah, I guess how long do you envisage that plan to take, or is it just a constantly evolving one now? You know, that culture change.
It'll be. I mean, it's going to take quite a long time, I would say. But you know, in terms of our activity, that's happening in the next couple of weeks. In terms of engagement with our heads of department, and ultimately then engagement with our people. And as I said earlier, it's about what's our identity. We've got proud people. We have proud people working proudly in businesses with great pedigree. We're now one much bigger company. What do we have in common? What are our drivers? What are our performance indicators? And all of those things. What are our behavioural expectations of one another? And let's have a common purpose. So, you know, we'll be looking at implementation of some of those principles within performance management, within new business onboarding as well. You know, it's not just about our employees. It's about how our customers, you know, how we express ourselves to our customers. What do we look like as this business now? This huge combined organisation.
Oh, well, I'll pay you a compliment right there, Ben. You know, even without that strategy coming out, I think, you know, that senior leadership team has now really already started to drive some of that philosophy in the business. You know, it didn't have to be documented. You can see it on site, the way that people are interacting and trying to make changes now, and all for the greater good, which, you know, is obviously why you're a champion of print, to have the cliche. So obviously, Ben, this podcast was around champions of print. You know, anybody who's listening to this podcast now, is there any sort of one key message for as a champion of print that you'd like to share that that helps that success?
That's an interesting question. I think visualize where you feel that you need to be. Talk and engage with your people about that. Plot your route of travel, your direction, and then hold yourself accountable and hold your people accountable. So everybody's clear, and don't waver, because you know it's a challenge, but you will absolutely get to where you want to get to, and you'll achieve your goal. You've just got to be very headstrong, and don't let setbacks put you off. because once you've got that, once the vision's in place and the direction of travel is known, we can really achieve anything. I believe that.
And I love the fact that you answered that so brilliantly when I put you on the spot, and I think that was a really nice message for anybody, Ben, and clearly the voice of somebody who is an expert in the industry for sure. So look, I'm going to leave it there probably because I have now got a meeting to go to with one of your lovely operators who wants to tell me about improvement. So I'm obviously going to go and rush to do that. But amazing to speak to you, Ben, as always. And I really, really appreciate you joining today. So thank you very much. And I will speak to you soon.
No problem at all. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Ricoh.